Welcome back to some professional Starcraft 2, the Dreamhack Masters 2020 North America Finals. And we have an All-American Protoss versus Protoss. Both players at the top of their game. Both players have trained in Korea. Both players have qualified for GSL Code S. But first, let me introduce you. As many of you might know, has broken out of the pack and become a challenger from Team Alpha X. It's Astrea. And in the top right, the three-time WCS champion. The best player from the United States of America looking to defend his title. The Protoss, sponsored by Ting, from the great state of New York. It is Neeb. And somehow everyone's pylon is in their base, and I don't know how to react to this. It's Protoss versus Protoss. The drunken tightrope fight in the middle of a hurricane over a pit of lava and lava as well, where you make a single mistake and you fall into an alternate dimension where you must play 14 matches of Call of Duty with 7-year-olds on voice chat at max volume, survive, come back, and then figure out what tech you're going for. That's the Protoss versus Protoss that we know, and that's the Protoss versus Protoss you have no choice but to love. But Neeb has never been one for that. Neeb has never been... He's tried to avoid such a meta. He's tried to avoid in the past, historically, essentially everything I just described. But will he this game? Astrea, on the other hand, Neeb scouted Astrea's pylon. He scouted all over the map. He still has a probe out on the map as well. It's hard to tell whose pylon is whose. The Adept's trying to sneak in. Astrea playing safe, playing careful. He hid his pylon, but in a place that he could potentially defend it. The Adept's looking for an opportunity. Two Adepts, the reason we wall off in Protoss versus Protoss is simply because two Adepts end the game if they get in. They do critical damage. It's almost impossible to recover if they get Adepts in your base. But one of the only ways to stop Adepts is with a wall. So the probe just chills by a wall, waiting for the opportunity to block and hoping you don't make a mistake. Oh, speaking of mistakes, Neeb, with his Adepts, looking for a beautiful save on the sentry and a force field to finish the Adept off. Astrea comes out on top early. I gotta say, he got a quicker expo. He has better tech. He has sentries for scouting. Neeb went for a robo in his mate. Neeb was sitting back trying to play it safe. That's what we see here. He gets this pylon. He like, the robo is, well, you're not going to kill me with any of that sort of that one-base shenanigans. Two Adepts do make it into the main, though at dramatic cost. Neeb. A little sloppy here on the micro early. That's not a real Phoenix, but it's uncomfortable either way. There's nothing to shoot back at that. Astrea, a few workers up. Now, by no means is this some sort of ridiculous advantage. Is there a real Phoenix out here? Wait a second. I don't understand. We're in the alternate dimension now. Which Phoenix is real? I can't tell. I mean, you can probably tell. But one of those is real and one is not. Balance in all things, except Zerg. Am I right, Protoss players? Am I right? Got him. Leave a comment, like, and subscribe. Robotics facility on the way for Astrea now. They're going to be filling in, especially on a more defensive map. You'll see players filling in that tech. The order in which we get there and how early game plays out kind of depends on things like proxies. But so far, there's been no proxies. Besides a pylon kind of out on the map. They both scouted each other out with plenty of hallucinated phoenixes. So Neeb is going to be the one going for Blink, whereas Astrea is catching up on that Robo and Forge. Astrea does have a stronger army on the map. Oh my god. And with that, he can move out and pressure Neebs. Neeb is going to have the better tech. So if Astrea's out here too long... Oh, well... Never mind. Astrea locks in and kills 2 Stalkers for essentially free. Force fields don't discriminate. They block in whoever. Suddenly, okay, that's a... He recalls the sentries and actually gets them out. That was a weird exchange. Astrea also has a pylon over here because he does. And a robotics bay. That has to be for Ruptors, right? You don't just go Colossus. Colossus do have a place. We've seen in mid to late game. Well, Neeb has been one of the players who's like, I build 1 Colossus and I use it to break force field. But I think we're past that stage. This has to be for Ruptors. Are we really gonna... Astrea. Are you really gonna go Disruptors against Neeb? Neeb won the first championship. He was the first non-Korean to win a tournament in Korea in nearly 20 years. And he did it with Blinkstalker Disruptor against Trap with a 4-0 victory. He starts Extended Thermalance and builds a Disruptor, which is, what if you could extend Disruptor range? Wouldn't that be great, Protoss? But, I mean, maybe Astrea... He's just practicing, alright? Like, you never know. You win this match, you go out, and maybe you don't go out, but at least you're slipping into some girl's DMs. You're like, hey girl, are you a robotics bay? Because you make my thermal lens extend. She's like, 1, excuse me. 2, please stop. 3, I'm not responding to this. This is super awkward. But... I have no experience with that. It would never happen. Meanwhile, 2 adepts try to come in. Didn't really work out. 67 probes apiece. That seems to be the number. There's 1 disruptor in the mix for Astrea as he goes for Colossi. We're spiraling up into a macro game. More Robos, a Dark Shrine. It looks like we're just filling in. Usually there's some sort of Blinkstalker exchange, but just some skirmishes. What? Neeb. Neeb just kind of casually blinks wherever. Wait, does Astrea? They both have exactly the same upgrades right now. Oh, the duel. Oh, wait a second. I said just skirmishes. Suddenly Neeb jumps on Astrea's Stalkers, forced to back off. He's trying to bait. Oh, no! The Disruptor! He whips it! Oh, he almost held on to it in time, but Neeb is on the chase. The Spider People Stalkers making their way across. He's got the Guardian Shield. The Disruptor could have been a huge turn here. A Colossus adding damage in. It's not incredible against Stalkers, but any splash damage adds a lot. More than that Disruptor did. What a failure. But Astrea was closer to his Warpins. He's able to win the Blink War for now. Neeb is forced to retreat. He's actually down about 15 supply, and he's up again. Wait, is Neeb going DT Blink? What? Why? DT Blink with regular Blink and double Disruptor, because this makes sense. Does DT Blink counter Disruptors? Or is it just a thing you get? Astrea has 81 probes and counting, which is every probe he makes from this point on is setting a new record for probes in Protoss versus Protoss. We rarely see over 70 probes, simply because if you have too high of a probe count, your army is too small. Oh, Astrea stepping a little too far forward. Neeb on the chase. Oh, he tries to bait the blink. Blinks away. Astrea really trying to bait Neeb here. But we'll see who baits more masterfully before this is all said and done. Neeb blinks. It was too slow, and the Stalkers pay the price. The exchanges from long range. Only blink range for now, but more disruptors on the way for both sides. The dancing of death. The dueling of disruptors. One disruptor hit on either a huge chunk of the army or the counter-ruptors is potentially game-ending. This is like the Ling Bane phase of ZVZ, except with way more expensive units and way more supply. Like a Baneling that hits 10 Zerglings, that's a big deal. What about a disruptor that hits 5 disruptors? It's just as much of a glass cannon micro situation, but from further range with higher stakes. A disruptor shot goes out. Neeb actually gets clipped there. Disruptor on disruptor. Astrea takes the better of it. Meanwhile, though, he's got DTs heading in. DT blink is done. What is he going to do with them? Does he go for the... What is this? What is this, Neeb? Neeb! He just decides to run by, blink by. Meanwhile, a huge clutch of charge lots on the left side. Neeb just kind of AFK there for a sec. He's going to cut down Astrea's probe count to a more reasonable number, and he's done a great job thus far. Meanwhile, Disruptor shot's a huge hit! A huge hit! Jimmy! It's hard to keep track of everything now. Where's my picture-in-picture? DT is going to help defend. It's nice to mix in DTs with Zealots. It becomes a little harder to figure out what's happening. Meanwhile, more DTs at the back. Neeb keeping him busy. I'm going to go to the Neeb action cam. Meanwhile, oh my god. Disruptors to kill DTs. Why bother waiting for observers? But we should be seeing observer speed relatively soon. Astrea has a observer speed done. Neeb does not as of yet. But of course, Astrea doesn't actually have DTs, so it's less of an imperative. So far, both sides able to graze the edges of the armies, but not finding a critical blow quite yet. Killing disruptors and killing bases. That's how you find real meaningful damage. Neeb knows that the army was out on the map. He's waiting with disruptors to see if a base trade is on the table. He sees it move back. Exploratory Purification Nova. Meanwhile, some DTs in the mix. Neeb trying to keep it up on both sides. Same with Astrea. It looks like Neeb has the map control for... Oh my god! Oh! Terrible! Terry gets like 7 disruptors! And he recalls away! He gets out after a mass murder! And blinks on top of the Colossi! Hung out to dry! Neeb with a devastating blow! But some of the Stalkers caught in return. Oh god, though! That's a lot of disruptors to lose. Astrea has lost 8. To Neeb's 2. You don't duel with the Duke of Disruptors. Neeb just finds the opportunity. He used DTs and observers as vision to scout out the best. Well, it's not just about finding where the disruptors are. It's about hitting a timing where your opponent's looking away. And that's what I think the DTs are mostly for. Oh. Well. Oh, I don't even know whose disruptor shots, but Neeb blinked into a Ruptor shot. Big hits! Oh, massive damage on both sides. Mutually assured disruption. Neeb still has the Ruptors, but it's... wait, what? Neeb accidentally fired a shot from the back lines, as that was the only disruptor off cooldown. This is what I think the DT blink is for, though. Neeb is always... he doesn't expect the DTs to do a lot of damage, but they require a technical response. They require you to have your attention split to deal with the DT. It looks like great minds think alike. I think Astrea may have forgotten he built a Stargate. This happens with top-level players. Like, oh yeah, I had a Stargate. Another Cybercore on the way. It looks like neither side is comfortable with trying to end the game with Ruptors, so they're going to take to the skies. But there's still a long time until we see something like Carries. There's also the whole meta of following through with your disruptor shot. Chasing down 3 DTs as Neeb exchanges. Oh, that disruptor finds a couple stalkers, but Astrea strikes back with three kills of his own. Just constant shots. 7 disruptors to 4. once you reach around 7 or 8, you always have a disruptor off cooldown if you stagger them. It's just constant. As the cooldown's around 21 seconds, and it takes 2 to 3 seconds to fire. I think it's like 2.5. Oh, looks like Astrea's added in the DTs. He's learned from the best. Meanwhile, the Blink Stalker exchanges. Neeb sees this, but Astrea has an opportunity. 1 disruptor, 2 disruptor, 3. At this point, he blinks over the top. He blocks, but 1 Raptor survives. Wait, Astrea comes in. Neeb blinks. Disruptors everywhere. He wards him away. The Astrea Raptors cover the retreat, but another and another. Neeb is getting strucketh by Astrea, but he does find the better end of the engagement by the end. Meanwhile, though, the DT on DT action. Blink DTs. Blink to surround the other DTs. Brother against brother. Meanwhile, though, the Blink Stalker exchanges continue. The DT war. The war up. It looks like Neeb's DT sliced just so much harder. Neeb has 1 badly bruised disruptor waiting. Oh, wait, there was an Oracle for Revelation. This disruptor is halfway off cooldown. The lone Raptor in the 1 area without vision, looking for an opportunity. He joins back up with it. It's 2 to 3 Raptors. They've both lost double digits. Astrea has lost 19, whereas Neeb has lost 11. Neeb has been significantly more cost-effective, but it looks like Astrea is switching into air more quickly. And air control is the ultimate, well, tech path in this game. At some point, if neither player is able to do critical damage, it's going to come down to who has a more effective air army, as they can just maneuver around the map and have a stronger army composition overall. Exploratory shot, looking for an opportunity. Who struck first? Oh my god. Oh, what? It's unclear who's hitting who, but there are Novas everywhere, and they don't discriminate. The only thing they don't hit are your own disruptors. Everything else is fair or unfair game, depending on who you ask. Does Astrea... There's more Stalkers for Neeb. The upgrades, +3 and +1 shields for both sides. Whoop. Another exploratory Nova. Astrea is now mining from the rich Vespine, whereas Neeb has secured the top left base. So effectively even on the bases. Astrea almost shoots his own pylon, but Neeb helps him out by killing it in the first place. Meanwhile, trying to come around the right side. A couple Raptors. Does Neeb blink away? Yes, he does. At some point, he might decide to blink forward, but you can't risk it if there's still a disruptor off cooldown. Astrea starts the carriers. Meanwhile, the skirmishes on the left continue. This is one of the most awkward things I have ever seen. Meanwhile, this exchange is happening. Neeb doesn't have any Raptors with him. Where are his Raptors? They're still chilling at home. Observers. There are 5 observers for Neeb. Only 2 for Astrea. Astrea now has the Raptor lead. This is a little awkward. This observer is really paying off. He needs to have the obs cleared out around his army. The vision for Neeb is allowing him to constantly take good fights, whereas Astrea is scrambling. Fires a shot. Another. Oh, what? Neeb wasn't looking! Oh, no! Oh, my God! 3 devastating shots from Astrea, and any work that Neeb may have put in on this base is now rendered futile. Neeb just, like, literally, you look away for a second. It's not a big mistake. It's a split second. He was probably setting up DTs or doing something on all of the other parts of the map, by the way, that exist and have things happening. It's, oh no, Neeb. Oh my god. Neeb does not let disruptor shots go unanswered. Astrea finds good connections, and Neeb strikes back just as hard. The disruptor... 40 disruptors killed. I don't think I've seen 40 disruptors total this year combined in all of the games I've watched. And now 40 disruptors have been lost. The DT war continues. The war for Shakuras on the left side and the disruptions on the right. Exploratory Novas. Neeb strikes forward. But Astrea is able to turn the tables with just enough zealots. Meanwhile, this is happening. Astrea's at 200 supply. Neeb hasn't had another warp, and he's looking at depowers some of this. I don't know if that's worth it, but Neeb is just building a whole spread of cannons. Neither side can take a decisive engagement without something else happening within the next minute somewhere on the map, rendering it almost inconsequential, or at least even. The carriers, though. 3 carriers for Astrea and counting. Whoa, he blinks forward! You're gonna have to hit yourself! Neeb says stalkers are pretty thick. Oh, Neeb blinks forward now, but there are more shots! Carriers have arrived, and there's not the critical mass! The fight escalates, and Neeb is forced to retreat. Meanwhile, Astrea came in on the left, but there's too many cannons and batteries, and he's shut down. The carriers push over to the right. This is already the best game I've seen all year. Meanwhile, DT's in the main, and it's the Americans that come through for entertainment. These Americans chose not to cast, but instead to play, and I'm glad to be here to experience it. Meanwhile, another disruptor. I don't know where Astrea's going with these. He fires a couple more shots. He clips a Ruptor. Are there enough carriers? DT's in the main. The Stargates got depowered. Neeb bullying forward. Oh, he gets 1! He gets 2! Can I get all 3? Triple kill on the carriers. Disruptors come raining in. Oh, Astrea breaks forward. He targets the Ruptors in time. Neeb almost shot his own Stalkers with the trailing Ruptor. And it's unclear, like, the carriers are gone. Neeb is still just making Stalkers. The bases are mining out. Despite all of this, almost nobody has killed any bases. They fought on the battle lines. They fought around the edges, but neither side has been able to really meaningfully kill bases here. They can't get close enough with Disruptors as an option. Neeb is now going for a fleet beacon. The map might mine out more quickly than I've ever seen it. Since both sides... Oh, no, okay. Oh, that was dangerous. Meanwhile, though, he blinks forward. Neeb used his blink, but a beautiful split. Astrea slammed by a big volley out of Neeb. But meanwhile, on the left side, Astrea has an overwhelming amount, and Shadow Stride blinks forward with the DTs. More Ruptors from the left. Astrea swinging around the right. Neeb is working the corners. Astrea had too much on the left to really help on the right side of this battle. The battle for the rich Vespine base continues. The unit's lost. Neeb has now lost about 2,000 more gas and wait. But 4,000 less minerals. So, he's losing gas units, but Astrea is spending a lot more minerals here on things like Zealots and just cannons in general. Oh, getting some of the stasis. The Disruptors scout each other out. Stalkers having a tough... Oh no, he used his blink. Neeb mistargets a little, and it costs him some Stalkers. This is happening. I'm sorry. I got caught in my throat there as I saw Neeb's probes heading for Astrea's base. This is a little bit... we're appropriating this base, Astrea. Thank you very much. And Neeb just slaps a Nexus down. The war over the middle bases will continue. Stasis wards and a carrier. That's happening. It escalates. The Stalkers are now on the left. They don't have observers. Well, there is one observer at the back. But the Zealots and Blink DTs can close the distance. And pound for pound, they're better in a heads-up fight. Where are the Disruptors? Neeb's got so much split between these bases. Big warp in here. This is going to escalate. It looks like we're going to the western front. I take it back. Disruptors for Neeb. Astrea uses Blink forward. Meanwhile, though, Astrea strikes back on Neeb's western flank. Astrea finds a massive broadside, and the carriers will hold the high ground. Neeb was able to hold at the western side. There's a lot of Blink DTs, though. They can blink across and chase down the Stalkers. I have no idea what's happening over here. I'm not sure who's when he targets the Ruptor. Blinks on top of the Stalkers, but the DTs are on. Where's the observer? Here comes the rest of the army. Neeb is down 15 supply. Astrea's taking the front right base. Neeb actually finishes the left side, and that leaves us in the an awkward location where both are trying to defend the base that is farthest from their production. Now, this isn't nearly as much of a factor for Protoss as other races. But in order to get to this side of the map, that's about the furthest travel distance from the main. So it looks like we're shifting the main brunt of these forces over to the left side. Revelation, Observers at a premium with both sides really utilizing DTs. Disruptors, Carriers starting to carve out some position here. Disruptors from Neeb. The exchanges don't find much, but he's zoning Neeb out of his own base. Neeb is trying to hold. He needs an opportunity to kill these carriers. He's building Tempest, the direct counter to carriers. Is there a mothership? Could there be a mothership? Yes, for either side. Both players are struggling for gas, but Zealots doing pretty well. Neeb losing his natural, which has no value except Chrono Boost. The Zealots and DTs go for more valuable production. Meanwhile, Astrea strikes to the left. He finds the first shot. He shot first. Meanwhile, Disruptors, though, Neeb struggling. He's trying to clean this up, but he's lost a Disruptor. He has to bring the army back. That means Astrea steps forward. But Tempest helped deal with this. I don't know if he flew these guys over here or if he used a recall. The recall's on cooldown. He recalled his Tempest to his forward base. That's how far away it is. Meanwhile, though, he has to deal with DTs in the main. Astrea, weapon purification novas everywhere. Neeb has only 2 Disruptors against 7 of Astrea. The carriers are carving their way forward, whereas Astrea has established a base in the middle of the map, and in a half-map scenario, that could be everything. Meanwhile, Neeb... Oh, another volley of Disruptors comes in. Huge shot! Huge shot from Neeb! Pentakill! The Disruptor gets 5 of them! Neeb loses 23 probes, but his army is still at nearly full strength. That Disruptor kill! Suddenly, Astrea, who was up 5 Ruptors, is now down 1. Oh, Neeb, backed up against his own Nexus's wall, gets one of the biggest hits, again, that he could ever dream of. Swings over to the east. Astrea, there's a very realistic possibility of a base trade. Astrea has agreed. Neeb will be taking this base. Whereas, oh, a beautiful-ish stasis, I'm not actually sure if that helps or not. Because now the Zealots are frozen instead of dead. Astrea's gonna clear out the left side, including the rich Vespine base that Neeb has mined out most of the gas. Are we going to continue? Neeb does not have a recall. He has to wait out the Zealots, which is kind of really awkward. Especially since the Zealots are a real threat here. Meanwhile, how long on recall for Neeb? He's still about 20 seconds out. Neeb is losing a lot of his mining here. The supplies are still near max. The armies are kind of even. There's carriers versus Tempest. Tempest counter the carriers, but carriers counter most everything else. 11 probes go down. Somehow the probe count is within 1. Somehow both are at 190 supply. Somehow this game is still even. Possibly the final battle. The Disruptors of Astrea out in front. He fires a shot. Neeb targets it down. A return fire, a fadeaway. He's got a recall. He's going to lose at least 1 carrier, right? He loses none carriers. How? But the Stalkers left out to dry. Astrea is scrambling, but he has more economy to keep it together. He gets a Tempest. Neeb has lost 13 more probes. There's a stasis ward out here. Neeb is barely mining. He has 0 gas income and barely any mineral income. Neeb has to work with what he's got right now, and what he's got are 5 Disruptors, 8 Tempests, 14 Stalkers, and 26 Zealots. Disruptors still a very real danger across the board. Either side that gets the big hits, those carriers are very badly bruised, easily targetable. This base wasn't long for this world. He blinked forward. Where's the revelation from Neeb? Honestly, at this point, I don't know if you can even worry about mining. Somehow, we all went from max economy to almost nothing in about a minute. The curveball. No revelation out of Astrea. He might want to consider getting an Oracle. Oh, target's down. He's got to blink away. Blinks out of the disruptions. Meanwhile, a lot of Zealots. Neeb has very little mining now. He only has the handful of mineral patches left out. Meanwhile, he's looking for oh my god, this is so greedy. He gets a one-shot on the Tempest. Meanwhile, the Zealots a little far forward. Astrea clips a few, looking for more. Neeb knocks into a pylon. A few more Zealots. I wonder who's going to win that fight. Neeb is actually expanding forward here. Astrea has still been mining. Neeb can't replace the units he's losing. Astrea has 152 army supply. He doesn't have money in the bank, but he is near max. Oh, disruptors! Disruptors! Neeb doesn't follow through! Another disruptor comes around the wrong side! Another... Ah! It's so close. Revelation, you gotta be careful. Neeb is long-distance mining with all of his probes, essentially. Astrea's just trying to hold on to this left side base. I think that's a really smart move here, considering Neeb has to keep it together. He has to get another base up if he's going to continue, unless he wants to try to take a desperate fight. Astrea has whittled him down. All it's going to take. Oh, another big disruptor. He blinks away. It's hard to tell exactly where the disruptors are with the carriers over everything. This game has been ridiculously even, but Astrea is consolidating his position. He's got an entire division of zealots here. He's moving along the right side as well. Some DTs in the mix. I'm sure there's an observer somewhere with Neeb. Indeed there is. The Tempests are just high enough in number. Fires a disruptor forward. Another one. Zoning him out. But the zealots, they kill a base that has no resources left, and they kill probes that have no purpose in life. But that's just, I mean, if it comes down to a base trade, Neeb is starting to... What is happening? The Zealot Wars! Oh, what is this, Mata Battle? Oh, what is this? What is this madness? I think Neeb has more Zealots. Nobody has any gas left. It's all in the disruptors. The war continues. Where are the DTs? Neeb's Zealots overwhelming that of Astrea. There need to be DTs. There needs to be... Where's the battery overcharge? Something! The Zealot Concave! The lines have been drawn! And Neeb gets the surround! This is happening! Astrea got a huge hit on Raptors! I missed it! Neeb missed it! But Neeb is overrunning the Zealots! He has to recall to save the base! He recalls the carriers! The Zealots pull back! Neeb lost a bunch of disruptor. He's down to 2, but he's been here before! Oh my god. Neeb is he's carved out this base from the map. One purification nova at a... Oh my god! Neeb! He does it again! He does it again! And just like that, the 5 disruptor lead is nothing! He has no disruptor lead. Neeb has 4 now to just 2. Astrea always 1, maybe 2 steps away from claiming victory, and then Neeb strikes back. Nobody puts Neeb in a corner. Astrea is expanding to mine whatever minerals are left in this location. Might I add, this is game 1 of a best of 5. Neeb running out of bases. There's 120 minerals left there. This base is gone. How even can we get? Disruptor chasing probes. The worker counts. Still 140 supply. Still 100 army supply for both sides. Another base trade. Volume 2. The remix. This time grittier and with less income. Neeb comes back to defend besides the Zealots. Astrea tries to warp in. The fleet beacon is targeted. Astrea now down on supply. Neeb's army is bigger. Disruptors! Fires a shot. Still, 1 disruptor shot. Despite all this, we're still 1 shot away. If either side loses all or even most of their disruptors, then the ground army can easily overrun. The ground armies are pretty massive here. 15 and 19 Zealot and Stalker count. And then 17 Stalkers and just 2 Zealots. If Astrea is able to kill Neeb's disruptors, the Stalkers can outmaneuver and his disruptors can zone. But if he's not, now is when the carriers become a liability as opposed to an advantage. Carriers are a rich man's unit. They're for those with income. And that's why you had the reboot in the first place. Because you were hurting for money. Oh, wait. Neeb? Oh, no. I think we just saw a man die. Astrea. He has strayed too far forward. And now he's going to be straight out of this game pretty soon. If he gets another hit like that. He just walked right into it. Targets down another Ruptor. Neeb maybe find... Oh, no! He's on a knife's edge. He needs a Neeb-like shot. He Neebs it. The critters getting very, very anxious with this. Oh, Neeb blinks over the top. There's no more cooldowns. He splits it. He parts the Red Sea. Meanwhile, though, the Tempests are chipping away at the carriers. Astrea's running out of ground. Neeb marches forward. The Blink Stalkers look for an opportunity. A disruptor. The carrier's desperately trying to hold it together, but it looks like Neeb somehow has stabilized. The Tempest, the superior choice, and the disruptors with superior micro. The carriers were trying to win it all. Oh no! The curveball! And strike 3! You're out of here! Astrea is down to 100 supply. There's nothing left to stop the slow burn of the Tempest and the immediate combustion of the disruptors. As Neeb now finishes off whatever's left. Astrea with one last desperate gambit. Shield battery overcharge. Won't save you. Another disruptor shot. Chips into the Zealots. There's a critical mass of Stalkers. And after 37 minutes in one of the most exciting, even epic... Oh! Protoss versus Protosses I've ever seen. Neeb with a victory. At no point did it slow down. Almost 100 disruptors lost. A full-fledged war on 2 fronts. Hundreds of Stalkers, hundreds of Zealots. Well, I think it's time for game 2. How are we gonna top that? Give me my cannon rush. Golden Wall. I don't know. I don't know how much of that was them kind of realizing Neeb is definitely the player who wants to get to 3 bases. He wants to get to 70 probes. But Astrea felt like the same kind of player. We're seeing 2 similar, like Astrea, we haven't seen nearly as much as we've seen Neeb, but he's definitely, he qualified for GSL, put up some solid games, but like many, especially for him, but just generally players in GSL, had a tough time and didn't make it through his group. But just getting there is a feat in and of itself. Neeb, one of the only foreign players to make it to the semifinals of GSL, by the way. You guys remember Jinro, of course, a decade ago. A decade. By the time you see this on YouTube, like and subscribe, by the way. It will probably have been a decade of StarCraft. StarCraft 2, that is. Like 3 decades of StarCraft. Well, StarCraft 1 will never die until Artosis does. Of spite at age 114. They'll finally decide that Marines get Combat Shield and Brood War, and he'll be like, I hate this game and I don't want to live on this planet anymore. By the way, that's a robo. Neeb, but it's not even a proxy. What am I watching? So Astrea has... Now we're back to PvP. This is what we expected at the start. Neeb is... He's proxying a robo outside of his own base. Like, this is not on Astrea's... I guess that you're not going to find it there. Astrea's looking. He's scouring. It's got to be somewhere. Neeb walled in, by the way, which is ridiculously suspicious. It is. There are multiple alarm bells going off right now. There's obviously something happening. It's just Astrea has yet to realize what exactly it is. Neeb is also... He's decided to take a complete departure from the previous match and do a full-on cheese. It is Golden Wall, so... Oh, does he get... Not even close, baby. 1 HP, 0 Fox. What are you going to put out here? Is this where the Dark Shrine goes, Neeb? I honestly, like... He already walled off, so why build a pylon out on the map? Meanwhile, though, a hallucinated Phoenix. Oh, the probe! The probe with 1 HP found it! What a hero! A Protoss hero! The probe scouted the robo. That's huge! That is everything! Like, knowing that it's a robo and not a Stargate or a Dark Shrine or even just a straight-up gateway push, seeing that robo is everything. Neeb was relying, because he had the robo in such a weird, random location, almost random location. He was relying entirely on the element of surprise, and the fact that Astrea would have to hedge his bets. He'd have to build a battery in the main and at the natural. He couldn't just commit. But guess what? Now Neeb has to walk up a ramp against a guy with 2 shield batteries. Good luck. It's not looking so good for Neeb. Sometimes when you gamble, you lose. A hallucinated Phoenix, just like last game in the alternate universe game, will be replaced by a real Phoenix. What am I watching? Can the Phoenix kill the War Prism before? Oh no. Neeb, he gets to get the Stalkers out! Oh my god. He may kill the Phoenix, but the Warp Prism was kind of the most important part of this. So now Neeb... How did he even get a probe out? I guess he had a probe out the whole time. So Neeb is really far behind now. This is really bad. It's not over. But it's not good. There are a lot of hoops that Neeb has to... Oh, he's going to go for the Colossus break. I neglected to mention the robotics bay. This is what I was talking about. I prefaced it in the previous match. But the Colossus to break force field and give him 1 shot to break through. The problem is he's not going to have a prism. Usually the prism is a pretty important part just to keep units alive. Astrea will have multiple batteries, so even if the Colossus breaks force field, the sheer amount of units... Well, that's one of the most obvious stasis wards. The Nexus is a bit of a placeholder here as well. The placeholder, like, this Nexus is to convince Astrea that he's trying to expand. It's not actually like Neeb's gonna macro this out. But Astrea, all he's got to do is live. Does he know that? The Phoenixes are scouting pretty actively. They don't know 100% for sure. They're looking. Oh, he got the Observer. And he sees it like, okay, just do it, Neeb. You gotta go. There's no choice. hallucinate a probe or something and try to trigger the stasis and go. He knows there's a stasis. He saw it. It doesn't get any easier. Oh, here's the oh. This is a sad way. After 37 minutes in game 1, we now see a much more yeah, get him! Oh! Yeah! But is there nearly enough here? He's not even using the battery overcharge. The Colossus steps over the force fields. He picks up the Immortal. A battery overcharge used once the army is fully engaged. The War Prism's helping. A Void Ray shows up to ruin any dreams Neeb might have had. It's almost close, but not nearly close enough. Neeb took his shot, and Astrea with a strong deflection. Neeb handles it. I mean, Astrea handles it, not Neeb. Oh, Protoss look alike to me. Ice and Chrome for match 3. One of the coolest names, puns intended, of maps we've seen. It is a little bit, it's more of a macro map, but no Eternal Empire. Can we just... Okay. Just take a moment. Settle down. So now we had about the... one of the most amazing, epic, like, unicorn rarity, never before seen, insanity, enlightenment... Protoss versus Protoss games on Eternal Empire. And then we had one of the most standard cheese failures on Golden Wall. So I expect, just by very small sample size math, this game to be somewhere in between. A mid-game, an early pressure into a mid-game advantage that might flip, might not. I'm looking into my Protoss bag of tricks, and I look back with a 1,000-yard stare. Wait, let me... Okay. Proxy Stargate. We will see. What? It's just it's like just right there. It's not even hidden. Maybe that's what makes it hidden, because this map has kind of weird pathing because there's literally rocks in the center. What is this? Is he just hiding it? He's not even proxying. What are you doing? What? He's just putting a pylon there. I mean, hiding your second pylon is a legitimate strat. That's, where's your second pylon? You're proxying me. That's the immediate response, the immediate thought process. Wait. Neeb, can you even wall this off with a pylon? I think so. He didn't. He could have there to stop the probe, but he didn't. So I guess this is how we're supposed to wall off. Taking notes. But this is definitely to stress Neeb out. Mind games are almost... playing the mind game is almost as important as playing the actual game at this level of PvP. It's almost like the opposite of ZVZ, where in ZVZ at the top, like the tippy Cerro versus Raynor top level, cheese is rare and nearly non-existent. It's usually a lot of like Roach, roach battles and macro games, whereas PvP is the opposite. At the lower levels, you can kind of sit back and expand, but at the higher levels, people are so effective at all stages of the game, you saw Eternal Empire, that even a tiny advantage can be game-winning. So there's next to no stability, which is why it's considered such a volatile matchup. It's because, as we all know, Protoss units are just so good. Yeah, by the I just glazed over. My eyes glazed over because I chose not to believe. The pylon kind of just died. Like, I didn't even realize it was happening. I didn't think about it. It just seemed natural. But the stalkers just walked up and killed it. I mean, it's not a huge loss. It's not like he was relying on that pylon for his whole game plan. But they kind of just walked up. I thought that was like... It was so obvious. It felt like something like that might happen. But that's what made it so less than obvious. So, how much has Astrea has seen the Stargate, and he's chosen to go Stargate himself. Now Neeb is swerving into Twilight and Forge, which may give Astrea an opportunity to actually take air control. But in comes the Oracle. There is a shield battery tucked into the edge of the Nexus, so it can help with harass. But wait! There are Adepts. A beautiful... Oh my god, I love the placement on the shield battery. That's definitely intentional as well. He cut it down so one force field can block Adepts, but it also helps protect against Oracles. That is the perfect shield battery placement. And a lot of Protoss is having your buildings in the right spot. Like, being vulnerable, as Artosis and others have found in the past. Having your pylons in a less than ideal location can result in devastating losses and years of memes, which is even worse. So, I'm stealing this. I will forget by the next time I play PvP, and especially PvP to over 40 probes. This is already dramatic. But steal that. That shield battery placement, that's something you can just rip right from Astrea's playbook. Neeb adding on pylons, scouting pylons. Now, Astrea has taken some big fights. He's won them. He's only lost probes, and he's killed an Oracle. Well, he's lost a Sentry and 5 probes to 2 Adepts, 2 Stalkers, and an Oracle. Neeb is about even on workers. Let's look at the tech, though. Astrea did not choose to leverage his Stargate very much. He chose, instead, to try to catch up in tech, which it's hard to make that call. But I think that's a mistake. Because now Neeb is going to have a significant advantage on both +1 and Blink, especially Blink. In fact, Astrea is not going to get Blink at all, which means Neeb can blink circles around him. Above him, around, like below him, well, not below, past him, to the side. Doesn't matter, he can teleport. It's pretty imba. And Neeb, like, there's a handful. There's probably a single-digit number of Protoss I would trust with Blink Stalkers. It is a precious small number. The short list includes, like, Parting, Neeb, and maybe Zest. It depends. Honestly, it depends on if Zest is... Zest he's like the phases of the moon. Sometimes you get the Zest that you're not even sure if that's Zest. You can't really see him. But sometimes he blinds you with his large shoulders and his triceps, whichever ones those are. And also his gameplay. But... it's your arms. Somewhere on your arms. When he carries his Adepts to victory. Anyways, what was I saying? I got distracted. Tricep. No. Blink Stalkers. Yes. So Neeb does have those Stalkers. And Astrea, well, now he has to scramble to deal with them. Some force fields, but he gets in. Couple Stalkers, not going to make it out, but I think delaying that production and taking this much map control is certainly worth it. Neeb has a third. His third is comfortably mining with 10 more probes. He's got +2 on the way. Neeb doesn't have charge on the way. He actually just wants to go Stalkers, which There is a point where it tilts back the other direction, where Immortal Archon charge slot just rolls over Stalkers, even if they do their best to prevent it. But not yet. Zealots targeting things down. There's a Phoenix just chilling. The Archon's kited by the Stalkers, but does Astrea really have what it takes? Where's the Prism? He has random pylons all over the map, but that's typical for the matchup. There is the Prism. Astrea's looking, he's looking to end it here. He might be building probes, but he's not getting +2. He's well, he's just adding more pylons. This is probably his best opportunity in order to do actual damage. Ooh. He has even upgrades. He has charge. There aren't really Immortals, Charge Lots, or Archons for Neeb, but it looks like Astrea is not confident enough to fight here. He really wants to pick a fight. He's sending a War Prism towards the main. Neeb a little slow here. I'm not sure what else is happening, but he is bleeding out Stalkers. Archons in the main. Big recall, but also a huge warp-in. A bit of a mess in the main base here. He'll get the cannon. The Zealot's doing a lot of work. Astrea moving into the third. Great Sim City here from Neeb will make it very difficult to maneuver. Oh, look at that force field placement. He forces the Archon to help him out. The Zealots actually won the fight in the main. Never underestimate how fragile Stalkers are when not microed. He had to warp in some more. 5 probes went down. Astrea has carved out his third. But at what cost? Neeb is building disruptors now. Neeb has better upgrades. Astrea has less workers despite killing several throughout all this. More Stalkers warped in. Neeb is really leaning on the Blink Stalker Disruptor. He knows what he's like. He likes. Yes, that. We got there. And the Blink Stalker Disruptor is what he's comfortable with. Most players would shy away from it. And Astrea is shying away from it here. He doesn't have Blink, so that's kind of a key part. Oh, he just targets down 6 probes, gets out. Meanwhile, Hallucinated Phoenix, I think, was looking for either a big tech switch or if there's going to be disruptors out of Astrea. Neeb is building double Ruptor against someone who doesn't... Well, Astrea's building Blink now. It feels like Astrea's just following Neeb around the whole tech tree here. And that means Neeb's ahead. By definition. You cannot be followed if you are not ahead. Not even philosophically. Maybe philosophically. Oh, this is happening. He splits the Zealots. Will there be... Oh, he's going to go with the Phoenix counter. So Phoenixes can lift a Disruptor and interrupt the cast and create... Either you just lift Disruptors in general, or you interrupt the cast and the cooldown is already used. So as soon as the Disruptor fires, no matter what happens to it, whether it's targeted down, obviously, or it's lifted, it gets interrupted. So Astrea going to rely... The thing is, Neeb is building more Ruptors than Astrea can lift. No matter how big his triceps. Get Zest in here. Help him out. Because 2 Disruptors at a time, while they take a little longer to build, is going to be more than that in Phoenixes. He could do some sort of rapid-fire lift and cancel, but that's... You're putting a lot on that. It's... And Neeb going for... Like, this is the strat. Shadow Strat DTs. That is a lot to ask. Honestly, this is just Astrea saying, I got one shot. I got one opportunity. Will he capture it, or does he even lift? That's the question. Because Astrea's behind on upgrades. He's behind on bases. He's behind on workers. His army composition is not as effective in a drawn-out game. This is the only... Like, Disruptors are the only thing that can really beat Immortal Archon Charge Lot in the War of Attrition. Especially if you have the initiative. Astrea has to find a fight and win it decisively in order to either come back or win the game. Starts with one, then the other. The Neeb just gets in, gets the Nexus, gets out. Oh, he blinks to the side and recalls. He leaves a few stalkers behind, but the Phoenixes are revealed. Will we see Archons out of Neeb? Or does he just decide, I have so many... Mass shield battery. I guess if your opponent doesn't have disruptors, then you can actually survive the fight. He's looking for the lifts. The timing is everything. That stasis is huge. Astrea has blink now, but he's down +3 to +2. Neeb is like, and Neeb's not going to give him time to breathe. This is happening. At Ursadon Nature Watch. Neeb is fighting with the Stalkers. He's trying to draw out. The Disruptors are unchallenged. Another shot clips the Zealots. Meanwhile, though, oh my god, Neeb just blanks it, forces the recall. 12 probes, 16 probes are gone immediately. The Immortals as well, forces force fields. 17 probes slaughtered in a split second. Recall is gone, and now Neeb can run him around the map just like he was running him around the tech tree. Astrea building a couple Phoenixes at a time, but at this rate, does it even matter? Oh, well, if Neeb loses all these, that's a lot of DTs to lose. Okay, wait a second. Whoa, whoa, whoa. DTs, while great, very expensive. Suddenly, Neeb is even on supply. Astrea with a bigger army. Disruptors everything. Big pickups there. Big pickups. He needs to fire more shots. Neeb is waiting. He fires a full broadside. Disruptors mostly connect, but Astrea challenges through the cooldowns. Neeb fired everything, and Astrea mitigated most of it. This is his opportunity. He's waiting out the cooldowns. The Disruptors, the shield batteries were a huge amount of foresight there. Shield battery overcharge. Those 4 shield batteries, as soon as he saw the Phoenixes, he recognized the situation. The Disruptors don't get the critical damage. But Neeb, realizing that against Phoenixes, shield batteries were an extremely effective tool, it makes all the difference. That shield battery choice kept Neeb alive. He realized what his biggest weakness was. But of course, the third base is a little vulnerable. The Disruptors, there are more Disruptors than there are Phoenixes. It becomes a very difficult scenario here. Shots fired. Loses the Observer, which means DTs are back on the menu. Are there any more Observers? Astrea only has 1 on the map. Astrea once again battling Neeb. Neeb has 9 Ruptors. He's going to double digits. He knows what he likes. Astrea, he realizes, while I don't want to fight this war on your terms, I have no choice. Astrea builds the Robo Bay and another Robo. He once again chases Neeb around the tech tree. One more time. If he can get Disruptors and Phoenixes, I mean, the spell casting takes Harry Potter levels of practice. But if you can actually lift his Disruptors and then drop them onto a Purification Nova, the timing... it's a lot to ask. There's a lot of moving parts. But Astrea has to do it. He's left himself... Oh, wait. He's going Colossus. I mean... Okay. Neeb is already a step ahead. It feels like Neeb, as soon as Astrea catches up in some level of tech, Neeb's already ahead of him. It's like a Scooby-Doo episode where he opens the door and the Disruptor has just left. He can smell the stench of a Purification Nova. It smells like an electrical fire combined with wet sock. Or maybe burnt toast. Wait a second. What's happening? Another one of these. Is this real? I don't understand anymore. So every time these disruptor fires, just think of the aftertaste. The mouthfeel, if you would. Meanwhile, the Stalkers jump on the base! But Astrea's already here. There will be no recalling out of this. He could target down... Oh, he lifts up half of the Stalkers and will easily knock them down. Astrea doing a great job. Neeb has not quite found the opportunity to close it out, but he is building Tempests. One DT. Struggling. He's taken to the skies. He's building Sky Toss and a bank. He's got a lot of static defense at any of his bases. In game one, Neeb won a long, drawn-out match where Astrea had the advantage, I feel, a lot of the time. This game, Astrea has almost never had anything resembling an advantage. Only now that we're maxed out and Astrea has a bigger army supply does he have a form of advantage. But is it enough? That is... Neeb's got 10 disruptors. He has 2 for... Like he could fire 2 disruptors almost constantly. Just a creeping barrage of disruptor fire. Astrea moving in to try to take out some of these extraneous bases while he establishes his own. Neeb will just let it go. He'll take an Archon. Bit of a pathing issue there. And there's just not enough money on Astrea's side of the map to build the sort of static defense that is keeping Neeb intact. And another struggle, and Astrea once again follows him up the tech tree. He built a fleet beacon. It just finished up. But his air weapons... far behind. Wait. Astrea has +1 air. He had the Phoenixes earlier. Stasis catches a few Zealots, but Astrea's on 4 precarious bases against Neeb on 5, with really unchallenged. Astrea gonna move to the right, but there are several cannons. Should probably just take down these rocks at some point. The mothership has arrived, cloaking everything underneath. The Zealots cut off out of stasis into death. The mothership makes things even more difficult. Observers dying. Astrea struggling to figure out how to deal with this. He's bringing an Oracle into play. Astrea has 2 observers. Meanwhile, the DTs are eviscerating the production. Astrea has to deal with that. He's losing his Phoenixes, and with it the counter to the disruptors. The base... if he rebuilt it, it's gone now. A full volley of Ruptors could go pretty much unchallenged here. Neeb is waiting for his moment. He fires his first shot. A second. There's more. 2 more. There's a Disruptor. Astrea strikes back. But there's just not enough. Neeb, one after another. Time warp. Wait. Time warp? Wait, that's Neeb's time warp, but it just looks red. Wait, is it? Yeah, it has to be Neeb's time warp. Why is it not colored the color of the player? Blizzard! Anyways. And oh my god! Massive disruptor damage! Astrea turns it back, but Neeb is easily crushing the ground army. And the Tempest untouched. Neeb with a resounding victory. That time, he had a lead. And he let it play out. I think Neeb definitely had windows to end the game earlier. He just decided, let's enjoy it a little. And that puts us on match point. So, I would be remiss if I didn't... Okay, quick advertisement break. If you guys can pause ad block, we'll be right back after the break. Thank you for watching. Alright everyone, welcome back. I'm Winter, and I'm here to talk to you about all the exciting things you can do on YouTube besides letting autoplay go to the next Loco video. First off, like and subscribe. Everyone tells you to do it. Why? Because YouTube knows that way you really like this video, and therefore will watch ads. But who would do that? But at least it helps me out. So if you enjoy, like and subscribe and say, Winter, you casting PvP, even when it isn't Neeb versus Astrea, even when it isn't like an intellectual Nirvana sort of experience, expanding your brain to limits never before known and dimensions never before explored. Even without that, you make the games so entertaining that most of the time, I don't fall asleep. So, thank you for that, Winter. Just go ahead, write all that down. Maybe you'll get a heart. Probably not. But also ring the bell. You might be like, why would I ring the bell when I know every day at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. Central European Time, or 11 a.m. Pacific, there's a new Winter video. You might be like, Winter, isn't that the same time Loco posts his videos? Yes. We're at a truce right now. Maybe I should break it. We'll see. You tell me, should I? But thank you for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed this Dreamhack Masters North American Finals. And hopefully you enjoy into the future. Also, unrelated, subscribe with Twitch Prime and I get more money. Good luck, have fun, good night. Jimmy. Got. Game 4. Of this best of 5. Jim, put the score. Get that. Neeb has 2. Astrea 1. 1. Okay. We got it. Otherwise, people will be 44 seconds into the game and say, Winter! I don't know what's happening. I have not followed any. I just woke up with the loud ads. Anyways, one more time. In the bottom left, the challenger has to take 2 in a row. Astrea. And in the top right, it is the American Protoss player. His name is Neeb. Sponsored by Ting. Astrea on Team Alpha. After all of this, I think if you're Astrea, well, last game he kind of tried to avoid the Ruptors. He tried to dance around them. And that ended up being a dancing of death. What do you do? Welcome to Protoss versus Protoss, where the pylon placements are made up and tech doesn't matter. As Neeb is putting his second pylon over here, and Astrea over here. Astrea just slaps. Wait, whoa, whoa, whoa. That's a very quick. Wait. It's just a 3-gate. Okay. He kicks things off with one of the most classic tactics. It could be a 4-gate. Or he could end up slapping a robo down. Neeb is going to look in the base. He's going to see that the second pylon... This is the most obvious second pylon of all time. And by that I mean, it's obviously not his... Like, the fact that it's building right now gives so much away. 2 adepts coming out for Neeb. He knows there's something out there. He just doesn't know 100... Oh my god. It's off the beaten path. Like, you don't scout there naturally. Like, if you're heading towards the other side of the map. You have to actively look into this location. Hidden in plain sight. Astrea's in the main. Neeb is expanding. The adept. Oh! 3 HP. Not for long. Down it goes. The probe. Okay, it doesn't try to go up the ramp. Neeb goes for a robo in his main. At this point, Astrea is going to try to kill him. I think Neeb has a very good understanding of that. You can look at how much energy on Chrono. While he didn't find the gateway, he has strong suspicions based on the fact he's got himself a shield battery right here. Uh-oh. Oh, no. There's an adept in the base. Astrea can't really afford to not do warpins on the other side of the map, let alone lose probes. Every warpin needs to be focused on killing. No, no. Not like what an appropriate way for this series to potentially end. But with an adept killing a bunch of probes because it got into the main. That shield battery is huge. Astrea does have a lot of stalkers. Neeb has to be very careful here. He has an immortal on the way. He wants to buy enough time to keep the Nexus alive, but it honestly isn't that huge a deal. He's going to pull a few probes as well. Whoa, the sentry out of nowhere! Locks him out of his own base! The probes! They twitch in agony! Oh, Astrea at the last second with the sentry out of left field. The force field is huge, but isn't enough. The Immortal can take approximately 3 dozen stalkers on its own, give or take. And Neeb busts down his ramp despite the earlier losses. And the shield battery is placed where it can be overcharged, but also help defend the low ground. Isolates the adepts, looking for the base itself. Another great force field. He locks the Immortal out. He quarantines the Immortal. He's got a target fire here, but maybe a little bit of a missed opportunity to get the base. He's stepping forward, but the overcharge battery! Astrea, it looked like he had an opportunity, but the battery placement, he didn't seize the moment. He could have had it. I feel like he could have killed that Nexus at the very least. Oh, he's going for the Immortal, but at what cost? Neeb holds. Astrea's been pumping probes behind this. He's got his Nexus up, which is why I think he was reluctant to commit too much. But his indecision there. Beautiful force fields, but not much from them. The shield battery placements throughout this series, I gotta say, both players really showing if you want to actually expand in Protoss versus Protoss, there's a way to do it. But you have to be very careful. Meanwhile, he just drops an Immortal and 2 Stalkers. They're just zealots here. Astrea's got to make something happen. He's going for probes. He can recall out. I don't know if that's the choice. He has to know. Like, you know... Oh. This reeks of desperation. Oh, wait. He got... But sometimes desperate times call for desperate measures. And that desperate attack, suddenly... Killing the Prism just removed counterattack potential. He got in the main. He got in the main. Now it's not that scary because of the shield battery. Once the second adept is killed, becomes a lot less of an issue. But killing the Prism, as well as having this probe count at home, Astrea again. His force fields have been great. His decision making has been good. His commitment, well, he's had commitment issues. But overall, throughout the series, Neeb has looked to be in a great spot. But Astrea has ground it back. And this game, while Astrea doesn't have the tech, he does have the workers, and he maintained enough army. Killing the War Prism, while costly, is a huge deal. You essentially can't attack without a Prism. It's far too risky. Force field becomes a existential threat, as Neeb has already learned this game several times. So you really need that War Prism, and Neeb does have it. Astrea not ready to give up the challenge to the crown of America. I think it is pretty clear whoever wins this series is the best player in North America. That's the point of this regional tournament, which feeds into, of course, the season finals, which is global. And, of course, both players are American, so what better stage is set? Who gets the championship belt? I just imagine when it's 2 Americans instead of a trophy and a bunch of dead probes. Oh, well, on the other side, returns fire. We just give him like a WWE belt. I'm pretty sure, like, if you gave Neeb a WWE belt, he could just wear it he could just wrap it around himself and it would cover most of him. Because Neeb is approximately as wide as very, very thin. He's like a stick. I'm trying to describe something that is thin. It is a thin, the sign holding up a speed limit sign, like a road sign, but the pole part. You get it. You got it. All right. We got there. That was very... Yeah. Okay, so that was worth it. Robotics Bay, this time from Astrea. It's like, how do I say pole without saying stripper pole? Shucks! And now we made... Blink is on the way for Astrea. This time he's the one who's going towards the disruptors. Charge is done for Neeb. So wait. Neeb, it... Neeb. What? He just lost his prism with 2 immortals. What? Is there even a star? Why did... What? Neeb without a lot of Warp Prism survival instincts here. So, that's actually really bad. The first prism was bad and unnecessary. That was... There was no... Like, all he had to do... There's an area where without air units you can't hit it. There's a dead zone in the back. But now Neeb's in the dead zone and he has to build his 3rd prism. Well, there's no way Astrea's beating this army. There's a Raptor! Surprise! He only gets 1 sentry. Oh, that first attack. The opening volley. Not nearly enough. Neeb is just rolling over. It kind of feels like what Astrea was trying to do last game. He's got the Immortals, the Archons, the Charge Lots, and he's got a bigger army supply. Oh, and he loses the Prism! What is that voice? Archons in the yellow, which is... Oh my god. That other disruptor. Neeb, keep your Prism alive. What's going on? I can't even comprehend it. Neeb has lost 3 prisms now. The Prism is by far the most important. If you had to choose 1 unit to keep alive out of that entire army, it would have to be the Prism. And Neeb has now lost another... What's happening? This is giving Astrea so much space here. These disruptors have not been getting the huge hits, but when you lose the Prism, there are no reinforcements to save the day. Recall of a surprising amount of units for 3 Zealots. A bit of a panic there from Astrea. And he lost 8 probes to those Zealots anyways. So Astrea obviously scrambling here as well. Yeah, that was a completely unnecessary recall. He did not need to bring his army back to deal with 3 Zealots and still lose 8 probes anyways. Neeb deals with these. Everybody obviously... Well, there's a lot of nerfs. Even at... Oh my god. Oh, we're going full NA, everyone. There goes... The beautiful dance has become a brawl after over an hour of gameplay. Well over an hour of gameplay. In fact, like, we're going on an hour and a half of actual game time now. Oh my god, that Immortal just gets blasted to pieces. The Blink Stalkers on the chase. They're slogging it out. They're tired. Another Disruptor comes in. The Scouting Disruptor. Not the best unit for scouting. Only the Warp Prism is probably worse to scout with. Does Neeb have another Prism? Oh, another shot he fires. Curves it. Does he get out? Oh, Neeb has Blink! And another Prism and a Disruptor. This is the weirdest fight. He's shooting up to kill an Immortal. Astrea, oh, the Neeb just blinks down because, I mean, of course. Suddenly Astrea's down 20 supply. It has taken a dramatic turn for the worse here. Is there... He has 2 Disruptors. I have no idea where they are. One coming up. He's trying to flank the Prism. Neeb Really trying to keep that thing alive. Oh, but Neeb... No, no, the prism! Neeb! Ah! And then the disruptor and stay out. So Neeb loses the prism, which was the only thing that, like, this now, ooh, misses the chance for a nice curveball. But is there just enough, even without the prism, to bowl through? The disruptor shots are not there. Wait, are they stuck? There's an Archon body! What is happening? This is a metaphor for this series right now. The Archon body blocking in a Ruptor, whereas Neeb rolls over the Stalkers without a War Prism. The Archon killed the Ruptor and is going to work on the probes. And Astrea is crumbling. It's not enough on any front. This Archon just racking up the kills on valuable units and a bunch of workers. The Stalkers blink back to deal with the Chad Con, the Neeb Con. But... Neeb! Stop! Stop! He's... What? Neeb is trolling! And with... Neeb loses a 5th Warp Prism and wins the game with the Scouting Prism. We went from the, like, most beautiful, epic dance to an all-out, exhausted brawl. You could see these players scrambling like disruptors, trying to get a knee up, like, in the mud. Gets up, punches Neeb across the face. Prism pops out of his mouth. The prism is his teeth, by the way. But then Neeb knees him in the stomach with an Archon. And they're both not great at physical exertion, obviously. So it's a battle. It's still just as exciting, with a whole lot less finesse by the end. And I mean, after that first game, I feel like they should have both just gotten one of the championship belts. But send Neeb his WWE belt, have him put it on stream, and give a really super awkward interview, the likes of which we have never seen. And make sure that interview is translated into Korean and back before we actually get to hear the answers. But hopefully you enjoyed Protoss versus Protoss. A lot of people don't think of it as a matchup to watch. They think of it as a mess. They think of it as a series of random events that kind of just happen. They think of it as where top tier players go to die to players with maybe less accomplishments. And they're right, as we saw here today. But Neeb still comes out on top with a 3-1. He is the champion of North America over all others. And hopefully you enjoyed. Congratulations to Neeb. He'll be moving on with a great seed into the season finals. Congratulations to you for surviving that and having 1/5 the lives of a Neeb Prism. Like, subscribe, ring the bell. Would you like to see more only PvPs? Maybe we should just give it... The other races are obviously inferior. So, what do you think? Thank you for watching. Good luck, and have fun.